Hi everybody, it's Reed. I'm out on a dash. This is the Life in Frame channel, and this is going to be eventually a tips video, the next 5 tips for door dashing. But for right now, we got an order. This is for Safeway and Wendy's. $12.50 for 4.5 miles. I'm going to go ahead and accept it. For those of you who are new, I am a top dasher in my city, and these are just tips to help you become top dasher. I personally feel like it's worth it to do that. All right, we have to go to Safeway first to do a little shop. So I'm going to go ahead and, actually we're not going to do directions. I know where the Safeway is. So we'll make it a little easier for me to talk to you, and we'll save some battery life. If you missed my last video, I'd recommend going to see it. It's just top 5 tips, the first 5 that kind of came to me. These are really in no particular order, but all of them are going to be good tips for you if you're in the gig economy doing Uber Eats, doing Doordash, Spark, what have you. All right, so last time what we talked about was use your bags. If you are given bags from Doordash, make sure you're using them because, well, I'm not going to tell you why. You need to go watch that other video. But also bring bags for other customers. So bags is number 1. Number 2 is have a backup battery. You know, go buy a Jackery or something like that. If you're under 10%, it's going to be harder to get those orders. So have a backup battery will make you more money, especially if you're a longer dasher like me. Number 3, actually that was number 3. Number 2, know your territories, and there's reasons for that. I'm going to talk more about that in the last video. Schedule and start your your shifts early, and I would say minimum half hour early. I talk a little bit more about that too in my last video. And then finally, last video's number 5 tip was turn off your Wi-Fi when you're running around. Also explain that in the last video. So what are we going to talk about in this video? Got 5 more tips for you. One of them, and the first, is have a standard. So have your minimum amount of dollars and your ratio of dollars per mile in your mind, so you don't have to look at each order and figure out the mystery of if you want this order or not each time you get a message from Doordash or Uber Eats or whoever you're running for. Knowing your metrics will save you time, will keep your eyes on the road. Also, if you tolerate things under your standards, that's what you're going to get. You know, there's resistance in this situation with your business relationship with Doordash or with Uber Eats, and anytime there's resistance in a relationship, usually whatever your minimum tolerance is, or you know, whatever you tolerate is what you're going to get. So my tolerance is $4 on any order. I don't take orders less than $4. It's just not worth my time unless I'm on a add-on at the store already or something like that, and it's on the way to the delivery site. Then I might make an exception going down to like $3.50 or $3. I also will talk a little bit later about having some exceptions to those tolerances, but you're going to have to know your territory, which was, again, number 2, I think, on my tips last video. So anyway, we'll talk more about that. But yeah, have a minimum standard. It's going to keep your eyes on the road. It's going to make life easier. You know, I can usually even skip over the route if I'm really, you know, in the middle of something, or I'm driving in the middle of city traffic. I just want to know 2 things. I want to know how much am I getting paid, how many miles is it, right? And then if I want to get real particular, or if I'm on the side of the road not driving, I'll look at the route and decide then. But a lot of times I just quickly, especially if you're in a competitive environment like you're on Uber Eats, and everybody's competing against each other, which I don't really do that here. You want to be quick about your accept and decline. All right, so number 2, identify and remember problem restaurants in your territory. So for a while, my problem restaurant has been Taco Bell and then KFC. Those are the 2 in my area that always take more time. Now, have a backup plan if you get those restaurants. Is your backup plan going to be just reject it no matter what? Or do you want more money for those? You know, if Taco Bell takes you twice as long to do as a McDonald's order, well, then your minimum should be twice as much money. So knowing your standards, you might say, well, Taco Bell's a 2x. So if my minimum is $4 for any restaurant, for Taco Bell, my minimum is $8 because I'm going to be there for 2 orders. So just knowing that is going to make you more money and also have you avoid problems. Now, you might be thinking, what if I get an order for a restaurant that I know is a problem or is not currently taking DoorDash orders, which is a thing, by the way. I've had that happen a couple of times. So they turned off their ability to take DoorDash orders, and they just don't want to take a manual order even. I can't even give it to them. They said, no thanks. So that happened to me once at Sonic. So what I'd recommend doing there is accept the order. I know you might think, well, just reject the order, but that's going to hit your acceptance rate, and then that will hurt you if you're trying to stay an approved dasher. So you want to accept the order. If you know it's a problem because you've been there before and you ran into that last time, but you got another order later in the day for the same restaurant, we'll just use Sonic's in this case, as that's when it really happened to me. Call the restaurant, ask them, hey, are you still taking DoorDash orders? If they say no, then you can reject the order as they're not taking DoorDash orders. There's a little button in there you can hit that says they're not accepting DoorDash orders, and not have to drive there and not have it hit your AR rate, because AR is acceptance rate, by the way. So that will save you losing some of your acceptance if you're trying to stay over 70% and stay a preferred dasher. Now, there's a different strategy if you're going to a nicer restaurant where you're actually walking inside. So I had this happen to me too at an Italian restaurant, where I actually went inside to pick up some things. And it was the same situation. Actually, it was a little different. It was somebody's already been here and picked up this order before. We've actually had 3 people attempt to pick up this order. So it was an error on DoorDash's side. In that situation, don't just decline the order in the app. What you want to do is you want to actually call customer service, tell them what's going on, have them cancel it for you, because you'll get half of your pay for that order. As you physically drove there, you went inside, so get paid for the orders that are errors. It's not your fault, it's DoorDash and their error. So, be nice to the restaurant too. It's not their fault either. It's software issue with DoorDash. So make your money, at least make half of the amount you would have gotten by walking into a nicer restaurant. Now, this doesn't really apply to fast food like Sonic's. But you might try too calling Sonic customer service after Sonic's. If somebody there will talk to them, or they can call the store, you might get your 50% pay, even though you didn't have to do any work except for drive there. So that's how to handle that. Anyway, I got to go in and start this order. I will pause the video and we'll continue later. See you in a minute. All right, we are done with that order. I just had to pick up ice cream. It was easy, just 2 of these. Pretty quick and easy. We're heading over to Wendy's now to get the second part, as this was a 2-location order. But the locations are right next to each other, so it was definitely worth doing. Anyway, tip number 9, or number 4 in this video. This is probably going to be the most important tip. So if you just remember one tip, this is probably the one to remember, as the other stuff you'll eventually figure out. This one is, DoorDash isn't going to call you after an order cancels. If you get a phone call claiming that this is DoorDash and we just wanted to let you know that an order canceled, that's a customer trying to scam you. Now, I'm over 800 dashes right now, and this has only happened to me once, but I am in a city, but I hear this from lots of different dashers that they've gotten this call. In fact, I met an older gentleman at a barbecue restaurant on the east side of town who said he had just gone through this, and he fell for it. He gave them all their credentials, and it sounds like he was real worried about losing his money. As what they do is they'll call you and say, hey, we're just letting you know that there's been some fraud and that we had to cancel the order, and now we want to verify your information. Now you're going to see it's going to say DoorDash on the phone, but DoorDash is patching you through to the customer's phone number, okay? The only time DoorDash is going to ask you for a phone number is if you call DoorDash and go through the virtual assistant menu options and they link you with a telephone support, then you might get a request for a phone number. Otherwise, there's no reason they're going to ask you for that, especially if they're calling you. So, warning, if you get a call from DoorDash, it's a scam. They're going to make it sound like they're concerned and the order was canceled and there's some fraud. They're trying to get your credentials to steal your Dasher account information so they can embezzle your money. Don't fall for it. Anyway, I'm here at Wendy's. All right, the Wendy's order has been picked up and delivered. One little tip I'll give you is that if you have a drink holder you get from the restaurant, just buckle it into the seat next to you. Save yourself some time. Don't put it in the cup holders. A lot of times my cup holders are taken anyway with coffee or with whatever water or whatever I want to bring with me on that day's drive. So anyway, we're headed now to go drop off the ice cream. And while you were off camera, I got another Wendy's order that was an add-on. So I went ahead and took it because the metrics are right. And they had me go pick up the order and drop it off before delivering the ice cream, which made no sense to me. And this happens a lot too with DoorDash. It's like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just have me go drop off the thing that will melt and then go pick up the food when it's still hot and drop that off, you know? So it's just kind of silly. So I actually had 2 Wendy's orders between this cut. Anyway, final tip is if you get sent to a territory you don't enjoy working in, like for me it's downtown with all the meters and the parking, it's a nightmare. You got to park several blocks away. Pause your dash before you go drop it off. Otherwise, you'll probably get hit with a bunch of orders you don't want and you're going to reject anyway. A lot of times they'll send you to like a hot zone. That's a problem for me. A lot of times that will happen. So, you know, be picky about your territory. Find the areas you like to work. For me, I like working in the better, more affluent areas of town. Even if the restaurants aren't super great, it's just McDonald's. Generally, the tips are going to be better there than if you're in a part of town that's a problem, or maybe a lower income area or something like that. So just be smart about what you choose for your territory and be particular. Don't be afraid to pause your dash and move and then turn it back on, because there's such a thing as opportunity cost. If you run an order that was $4 when you could have had an order that was $8, well, you left $4 on the table, right? So keep that in mind, and that's going to do it for this episode. I think I've gone through all 5 tips. Actually have idea for another 5, so I might do a third 5 tips video. So if you'd like to see that, subscribe to the channel, right? Ring the little bell, that lets you know that I'm doing another video for you, and thumbs up the video, that lets more people see it. As my last video really didn't get any views until I was on someone else's channel, Meaty Mama, I don't know if you know her, but she's another DoorDasher that I like to watch. And I said, hey, you know, thanks for encouraging me. Don't have any views, but at least I went out and did it. And then from that, I actually got a couple views, so that was nice. Anyway, if you're one of those people, thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. And look forward to seeing you in the next video. I'll have to do some more actual dashing on camera next time instead of just doing tips. But I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.